Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze. We are downtown in Austin, Texas. I'm here at Texas Tribune Festival. Just finished interviewing Dr. Peter Hotez, and then I ran into this man walking down the street. Robert F. Kennedy, how are you doing, sir? Mr. Democratic presidential candidate.
Good to meet you, Derrick.
Thanks for being here in Texas this weekend. I know you've got some events going on. I just want to get right to the heart of the question. That juxtaposition of a man who literally before you walked up was telling people that you are the scourge of society. Mutual friends of ours, Sayer G, Del Bigtree, the disinformation dozen. I spoke to him a little while ago. He basically said people who have alternative opinions on the vaccine, he supports them being taken off the internet and kind of pushed to the fringes of society. How do you feel with that going on while you're trying to campaign as a presidential candidate within the Democratic Party, where many people within that party feel similarly? Like there's, your thoughts on that?
One of the kind of tragedies today is that you can't trust public health officials anymore. The doctors can't, the American public can't. You know what, I tell people, don't trust me, but don't trust Peter Hotez. We live in a democratic society, and part of the responsibility of living in a democracy, and if you're parents, part of the responsibility of being a parent is to do your own research and really, treat every so-called expert pronouncement with skepticism. So many of the experts have been bought off by the industry, and our regulatory agencies are, instead of protecting public health, are serving the mercantile interests of the big pharmaceutical companies. And if you doubted that, go look at the Netflix documentary Dope Sick, or the new one, I think, on Hulu, Painkiller, and you'll see how the FDA collaborated with the pharmaceutical companies to market OxyContin and get the entire generation of American children addicted to a painkiller by saying it was safe and effective and it was not addictive, when they knew that was a lie. And they did it because it served the pharmaceutical companies. Oh, if they'll do it with opiates, you have to imagine that they're doing it everywhere else.
And we have captured agencies when it comes to big wireless.
Everything.
Pharma,
I just won a case against the FCC in the Circuit Court of Appeals.
Yes.
For being completely captured by telecom and hiding the injuries from cell phone towers.
And then the mainstream media kind of makes fun of you and says, Bobby thinks Wi-Fi is going to affect you, but they don't look at any of the data, they don't look at any of the research.
They're not looking at the studies. There's 10,000 studies. 75% of them say wireless or EMF radiation is destroying us. And 25% say there's no effect, but all the entire body of that 25% is funded by the industry. You look at independent science and government-funded science, and it's all saying the same thing.
And lawsuits have been covered. There's been lawsuits going on against big wireless since the early 90s that most of the public don't know about. Well, the last question I'll ask you, because I know you're here this weekend for a specific purpose. You had a press conference yesterday, and you have some events today focused on the border. And I know that you're trying to kind of, at least from my perspective, bridge that gap. Like, say that the border is an issue Democrats and liberals should take seriously, but maybe not going as extreme as Trump's version of events. So could you tell the audience a little bit about that, your vision for the border?
Listen, the border is a humanitarian crisis. Right now, the drug cartels are running America's border policy. There's 7 million people who've come across illegally over the past 3 years, and only 3.1 million legally. So we've turned we've delegated our border patrol and immigration policy to the Mexican drug cartels. It's not a good thing for our country. The immigrants are abused when they get here. They're given a asylum court date 7 years in advance. They're sitting here for 7 years. They have no legal status. They can't work. They're living on the sidewalks. They are preyed upon by predatory and unscrupulous employees. And they're hurting American workers, and they're crushing the social service system in our country. They're destroying our cities, and it's not people who think it's a humanitarian gesture to just open the borders and let anybody in is not looking at what's really, really happening to our country.
So under your administration, you would reverse
shut down the border,
policies.
but I would widen the gates. We need to have a fast path to citizenship, and we need to and we need to let more people in legally. We need to shut it off completely, illegal immigration. I mean, nobody could think this is a good idea.
Thank you for your time. Any last message to the people at home on why they should support you?
I mean, if you want to stop the bickering and start, looking at common sense policies that Republicans and Democrats can agree on, and stop the tribalism that's destroying our country. We're now more polarized than any time since the American Civil War. And we need to start looking at the values that keep us together as a nation that we share in common, rather than focusing on these, trivial issues that are tearing us all apart.